Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vasel and Sam Healey.
Hey folks, Sam Vasel here.
Zee Garcia, hello!
Sam Healey, welcome back, y'all.
All right, finally, we're taking a look at Time Stories Expedition Endurance.
That was all capital letters, by the way, that finally.
Oh, it seems like we waited. It's been like half a year since we played the last one.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Now, we're doing this in two separate reviews, so we're going to have, this one is non-spoilery, so this is going to probably be somewhat short because we're just giving general impressions without going into it, but then we'll have another review that's completely spoilery so we can talk more about what we think.
Okay.
So, if you don't know about the game, we're not going to really ruin it for you, but you can see on the back of this one that this was one that was in the, what does it say here? The Trans-Antarctic Expedition, okay? So this one, and it's the year 1914. That's what's on the box.
Okay.
And that's definitely true. This is the fifth scenario for the game.
Including the one that came in the box.
Including the one that came in the box.
Right.
And it's not spoilery. It is the first one that I've played thus far that I think if you wanted to, you could play this as your very first one. You could play this even before the base one. This one is a standalone. They're all standalone. But they all have elements.
To be standalone.
Right, they all have elements of the same storyline. This one feels like it's out of that bigger story.
Sure. This seems like a side step, and by that we mean story-wise, yes.
Right.
You could this could fit anywhere in the timeline in which they've been released.
Or again, I don't know what's coming in the future, but it could actually have a place in the storyline, but it doesn't reveal it to us.
Correct.
Well, it's possible. Now, this one here, and I'll even say that I think this is one that, again, if I was playing with people who've never played before, I might even use this one as the intro if they don't like the theming of the asylum, which was the first one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And because that is a pretty dark theme. It's not like any of these are like light themes.
Right,
But
right.
the asylum might cause triggers with some people and
Right.
such. This one, I think, less so.
Yes, I would agree with
a
that.
relative who got stuck up in an Antarctic expedition somewhere.
I would agree with that.
This one started with a phenomenal twist that I did not see coming that I really enjoyed. Do you agree on that? The
Yes,
initial
just
twist?
gotta be careful that's not a spoiler, but
That might be a spoiler.
Well, no. What I'm saying is there was something that happened in the game that I thought was really cool.
yes,
That's not a spoiler.
there were
Oh,
several
that's
things
true.
that happened that I thought were
Right.
very cool, but I understand what you're saying, and yes, it's nice that the build is right there. It starts with a bang, let's say that.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely.
That was really cool. And I really liked the story in this one. I thought the story in this one was a pretty strong story, and I got to the end.
It's a nice setting as well, I would say. I like these, snow-driven, white-out kind of settings, and then it makes for a very engaging backdrop to what's happening in the game.
I thought the characters were all pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
They were, there weren't any ones like, ugh, I don't want to play that one. I just thought they were all pretty neat characters, and they all had really neat backstories as well.
Right.
So I really enjoyed that. The story, this is one of the ones where I think it goes back to engaging in the storyline more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I really like about Time Stories. Some of the previous ones have been really puzzly, and for me, like over-the-top puzzly, and this one doesn't. And that's one of the things that I liked about it the most.
That would actually be a slightly negative thing for me on this one. I wish there was more of those heavier puzzles.
Okay.
I don't mind that there's not, per se. In fact, I don't know if there's any, major puzzles in this one. But this one's also not very combat heavy either.
Correct.
There's a lot of encounters, so there's a lot of... This one's like a mystery story. And you are solving that mystery. And then, things take turns and different things happen over the course of it. But I don't know that the replayability on this one is as strong as, let's say, Prophecy of Dragons.
That's probably true if you were going to replay them. Yes, this is...
If only
it's-
because there are certain things that happen in this one that if you know they're coming
Right.
the second game through. Like,
Well,
there
it's
are
like
things,
watching an action movie versus watching like a suspense. Once you know the thing, it's like,
Right.
okay.
Exactly.
Or you're not scared anymore.
Or whatever, right? Or you're not like, who could it be if it's a whodunit? You know, that it's that style of story. Whereas the action-driven stuff, you can just watch action.
And these are
That's
things
the
that you won't
difference.
forget either. Like, if I went back and played Marcy Case or the first one, I'd be like, oh, what was that thing we were supposed
Right.
to... Some of the things happen here, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember, guys. I really remember this one. There are different moments.
Right.
So for me right now, and again, I told you this one's going to be short. Our spoiler one will be longer. But for me right now, this might be my second favorite one. My favorite is still Prophecy of Dragons. I think I like this one, even though I like the puzzly nature of the initial one, the Asylum one, better than this one. I really love the story in this one. The artwork, of course, is phenomenal as always. But I found myself really getting caught up in this story. And we'll actually be posting our live playthroughs if you want to be totally spoiled. But when I was done, later on I was thinking about this one.
Right.
And this was a nice pick-me-up because this one actually makes me like the last one, the Egyptian one, a little less. Because this one just felt so much more interesting.
Oh, interesting.
The last
Okay.
one feels more mundane compared to this one. This one was not mundane at all.
No.
Okay.
I think my favorite one is still Marcy Case. That's the one that I really enjoyed, I think, the most so far, but this is probably a very close second.
Interesting.
Because I felt like Marcy Case had a very thick storyline that you had to visit all of those different places to really see how all those connections were being made, and this gives me that same feel.
Okay, that
I
makes
guess
sense.
for me, this is like my second or third favorite also. And again, I like Prophecy of Dragons best, but then I think I might like the Asylum one and then this. But those two maybe go back and forth. But what's interesting and what this makes me realize or makes me think of is even though we have three different things we sort of enjoy out of time stories, this one's so high on our list that's either because it's so good, and that could very well be, but I also think it's partly because it does not make any very strong stylistic choices one way or the other. Is why we all like it, right? It's not this heavy, and it's not this heavy. You know what I mean? It sort of adds a little bit of everything.
I think we all like story-driven games.
That's the one thing
lot.
it does well.
And that's what it's really, really good at. So we're able to overlook having less of a puzzly aspect. Whereas for me, that's another positive thing.
That's what I mean, right? And so I think that's what a story's solid. It's a fun adventure, but since it isn't puzzle heavy, then you like it.
Right.
And since it isn't combat heavy, then maybe I like it. And whatever. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's fairly high on all of our lists.
Right.
But that's the one thing I would say maybe is a slight negative if you are the person looking for one of those things heavy. This one's the most balanced across the board.
Well, that was ambiguous. I really want to get to the spoiler part of
Let's
this.
do it.
All right, but don't watch that one unless you played it already, in which case you're going to watch it to see if we thought the same way about it as you did. But either way, I think there's a solid...
Very good.
I was like, after the last one, I was like, that one was good, but I hope they don't follow in that vein. I feel like this one returns to form to some degree, so I'm excited about the next three. So anyway, that's Expedition Endurance. I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, see ya.
Sam Healey. See you on the flip side, y'all.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.